quite a few questions here. I must tell you that there's quite a few questions. I can't really read the writing, but I'm trying really hard here. But there are quite a few questions regarding the relationship between either the people who are in office or the people who are running the recall and their relationships with the unions. So I would just like to pose the question that, given whichever way you go, how would you negotiate with the union? And what kind of relationships would you try to establish with the union? Mr. Cockrell.
Boy, very interesting question about the unions. Someone much smarter than me once said, if you want to understand an issue, follow the money. And ladies and gentlemen, without me going into it here, the money is flowing in here like water. It ain't coming from us, folks. It ain't coming from us. So there's one union here, one local, that's 2881. They represent the current employees. And it seems like everyone else from all around here, ironically, we talk about local control and local people. All of the people who are walking in precincts are coming from far as away as Redwood City. They're coming in from outside. So I got to find it very entertaining when we talk about local control, but yet we're bringing in outside money, like they backed up the Brinks truck, and we're bringing an outside personnel to walk the districts. So when you talk about dealing with unions, I'd much rather deal with the union that represents my firefighters who are here right now than all of these other groups who are coming in from all over the Bay Area. Thank you.
Mr. McIntosh, what about relationships with the unions? Either keeping...
I didn't follow that last part.
Having a good working relationship
right.
with the unions, whichever way you go, I assume.
Right. For 21 years, frequently, I sat on the negotiating committee as part of management. I was the hero sometimes and the goat the other time, so I guess the balance was fairly strong there. But every time, my relationship was that, number one, the citizens of the coast got the maximum value that we could, the maximum value for the money spent. Secondly, is that the union's personnel, that all of them are equally treated. We had times when the captains wanted more money than the firefighters, and we said no. So the last thing is, in the middle of all of this, I have never received a dime from any union for anything. This year, to fight the recall, we've been privileged and very surprised to see the large number of people that are rallying to the cause.
Thank you. Let's see, Mr. McCusick.
Wow, okay, what's the question again?
Well, there's several about relationships with unions, whether they're working, against the recall, or if you, how would you negotiate with unions, even if the recall, passes?
Well, okay, here's a really neat piece of thing that showed up in the Daily Journal, and it's kind of the backstory that we're not the stars of this show. It's a union in San Mateo that's looking for work. They're closing fire stations, consolidating fire stations over in San Mateo. They're going to have 20 to 30 firefighters that are looking for a job real soon, okay? This is the backstory of why they're going to try and send CAL FIRE packing. And they're not even going to give a potluck dinner and say thanks to the guys that gave 5 years of their life, and they breathed just as much toxic fumes, and they looked at just as much death. And we're going to send them out at the door without a single goodbye and a thank you. And they're working for half as much as those guys over the coast. Okay, that's it.
Thank you. Mr. Riddell, how about dealing with the unions?
Well, being that I've had the opportunity to be on both sides, the bottom line is here, and even when I was working, I think most other firefighters would understand this, the bottom line is the protection of life and property. I mean, you have to deal within the scope of your means. And if you don't have those dollars, I mean, firefighters understand that. I mean, and the proof of the pudding is you have firefighters coming here, willing to work here. And the reason we're doing what we're even looking in this direction is because CAL FIRE failed. Okay, we gave them the money, we gave them the time, they didn't do it. That was their decision, not mine. So I sit on a board where I have the responsibility for the protection of life and property, and I'm not supposed to look at anything other than what we have that is failing? No. I have, and as far as working with the unions, whether they're union or non-union, I think it's our responsibility to work with whoever we're dealing with.
Thank you. Ms. Anderson.
All along the other side, the board majority has been saying that the recall was started, bought, and paid for by the CAL FIRE 2881 union. I have not received a dime from 2881. Mr. Cockrell has not received a dime from 2881. Nor has Mr. Rarback. Today we went over and picked up the FPPC forms from the county elections office. This is the 497 for...
Would you address your relationships with the unions, please?
My relationship to the unions is I plan to work very well with 2881. I have not received any money from them, and I know that that is not true for the other side. Thank you.
Mr. Alfano.
This is why we're here tonight. This is why we're here tonight. I was approached by CAL FIRE's union at recess at a meeting that asked if I was going to run for my seat that I was appointed for. I said, no, I don't think it's right to take money from the union that's currently here. I asked them, please, I'm not interested. They asked me to check out Atwater, California. Okay, look it up tonight when you get home. Atwater, California, see what they had to deal with. We're dealing with it here today. That union, 2881, has started and funded the recall. That union took us to court, and they lost because we proved that they funded and started this recall. They have tens of thousands of dollars into this recall. And I proved it. It's on the website. Okay.
Excuse me, please.
John Lynch,
Respect the candidate.
who collected signatures in town, got paid $2,300 to collect signatures. CAL FIRE's union hired Hartwig and Hartwig, a professional organization, to collect signatures. This is why we're here tonight, because of that union trying to run this local community. This is why I'm standing up and saying no, and I know you will too, to this union doing this to our community.